Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into my official NFL upset alert here for week number 3. I'm going to go over some of my upset picks. We've got parlays, we've got betting updates, who's betting on who are the sharps on. We're going to go through all of it. But guys, starting off with this Browns game taking on the Titans, a lot of people seem to be going in on the Titans. They do play very close games, but guys, think about this for a second. The Titans right now are 2-0 against the spread. Do we really think they're going to be 3-0 against the spread? I don't know. Maybe they do go to 3-0 against the spread. I don't trust it. This Cleveland Browns defense, very impressive. Think about what they did to Pittsburgh last week. The only reason Pittsburgh scored 26 points was because of 2 defensive fluky touchdowns. Denzel Ward, Myles Garrett, Greg Newsome, Delpit in the back end. This is a very impressive Browns team. I think it's kind of one of those weird games where you're like the obvious choice is Tennessee plus the 3 because the value is there, but the Browns are going to end up covering in this one. Deshaun Watson, the narrative about him with Nick Chubb now injured, I don't think he's going to light the world on fire, but Deshaun Watson, he can still at least be a game manager, get it done. You've got Jerome Ford. He's not terrible. The Browns win a game thanks to their defense at home, and they surprisingly cover the spread. The Browns, I don't think, will be upset this week. The next one, it is Denver traveling to Miami. I would be wary of the weather. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit, but this game, there might be some lightning, maybe a lightning delay in it. Overall, I don't think it's going to rain or anything like that. You do have Miami sitting -7, and this is your typical, people seem to be overrating Miami. There's a lot of people that think, Miami's going to win 14 games. It's not going to happen. They'll go 12-5. They'll go maybe 11-6. They're a good team, but this is a young team who's getting a lot of compliments right now. They're going to be brought back down to earth. Denver, not nearly as bad. People are like, oh, Denver's horrible. They're 0-2. They lost 2 home games. But if you actually look at those games, they were destroying the Commanders. Sure, the Commanders came back, but they still have shown Russell Wilson's shown the ability to generate big plays to Marvin Mims. They've got Jerry Jeudy. They've got nice young running backs. I like this Denver Broncos team. Jonathan Cooper, the pass rusher, very good last week, the 2 sacks. And I think maybe you get a Tua Tagovailoa fluke interception or something, and Denver surprises in this game. This would be my big upset of the week. It is the Denver Broncos going on the road. They're 0-2. Miami's 2-0. And this is, you're due for it. It's not like Miami's going to go to 3-0 here. It's a balanced game. Denver's going to improve to 1-2. Miami's going to fall to 2-1. It's going to be an equilibrium one there. And then we've got this New Orleans traveling to Green Bay. I like the under in this game. Green Bay sitting -2, maybe -1.5, depending on the sports book you look at. And I like New Orleans to win this game outright. And I can understand that you might say there's no way New Orleans goes to 3-0. But I don't know about this Green Bay team. I mean, Jordan Love, he's a decent game manager, I guess. I get it's Lambeau Field. It's their home opener. But New Orleans, they've got a good stable of receivers. Chris Olave's developing. Michael Thomas is healthy now. We'll see what happens at the running back. Maybe they got that young rookie Keandre Miller starting from TCU. Alvin Kamara still suspended. Derek Carr, he hasn't been that good the first 2 weeks. I think he'll be a little bit better this week, and they'll get a big road win, lower scoring game in Lambeau. Little upset there. And then here's a pick'em. So it is the Chargers on the road at Minnesota, and I do like Minnesota to win this game. I just think Minnesota being at home, both of these teams are extremely evenly matched. The Chargers, they're on the verge of firing their coach. I think they fire him after this game. They're going to fall to 0-3. You've got the Austin Eckler injury. You've got Minnesota. They're due for I guess you could say both of these teams are due for a win. I would agree with you. This game would be a lot easier to pick if the Chargers were 1-1, because I'd be picking Minnesota, and it'd be just simpler, because it's like we have to pick someone to go to 0-3. So I'll pick the Chargers to go to 0-3, because Minnesota, they're at home. Love Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison. We'll see what happens with Cam Akers. Not exactly sure if he's going to play, but I take Minnesota to win this game outright at home. Higher scoring game, of course. And then we do have the Monday Night Football game. So the update in this one, from what I am reading, it looks like Joe Burrow is not going to play. Now, that could change at a moment's instance, but Joe Burrow came out and said, he's like, oh, Jake Browning, he's going to be good. He knows what he's doing. If it does come out that Joe Burrow doesn't play in this game, I'm guessing the Rams are going to move to slight favorites, and I have them winning this game. I love what they've got going on right now. Kyren Williams, Puka, the veteran Matt Stafford, and a solid defense with Aaron Donald. I like the Rams to win this game outright, especially, obviously, if Joe Burrow doesn't play, but the line is going to change. Obviously, if he doesn't, the Rams will likely be around 3-point favorites in that case. And then I do have some parlays here. Just a little strategy going in on Minnesota, money line minus the 120. Again, it's basically a pick 'em. Pairing that with Detroit on the money line. So I just don't see Atlanta going to 3-0 this week. Detroit, they're due for a win. They lost a home game last week. Do we really think they're going to lose back-to-back home games against an Atlanta team that really doesn't strike fear in my eyes at all? I think Detroit wins and realistically should cover the -3. We'll take the Chiefs money line, obviously. I think the Bears might be slightly better because there is a narrative working now where it's like, oh my goodness, everyone thinks Justin Fields is terrible. It's the NFL. He'll probably come out and play well, but they'll lose. So I'll just take the Chiefs money line, and then I will take the Bills. There might be weather that impacts that game at the Commanders, but those are all money lines. It's just the Vikings to win, the Lions to win, the Chiefs to win, and the Bills to win. And then my next one, it's a 5-teamer. It is the Cowboys money line at the Cardinals. That's kind of an obvious one. The Cardinals, horrible. The Cowboys right now, certainly looking impressive. The Browns at home on the money line against Ryan Tannehill and the Titans. You've got the Jaguars money line in a bounce-back effort against Houston. And then I do like the Raiders at home, Sunday Night Football. The Steelers really should have lost last week. I do not trust their offense, but I do think this is going to be a higher scoring game. I'm expecting big things from Jimmy G and from George Pickens. Both of these offenses are going to move the ball. These Sunday night games are always higher scoring, it seems, especially when it's in a dome. And then I also will take Denver. I'll say plus 6.5 on that one, not the money line. Just because it is a parlay there. And then this is just something I decided to do for fun. Could you imagine? I've got a few different ones of these, but this one, yeah, this is actually including college football. I don't know, that's just a funny one. But look at this one. Honestly, this is actually a good strategy. If you just take teams that you think are guaranteed to win and then parlay them and just win a free $700 every week, like there's no way Tennessee loses to UTSA, let's be honest. South Alabama, Indiana against Akron, the Cowboys beating the Cardinals, Bama. I mean, I guess you could say maybe Bama might lose, but I don't see Bama losing to Ole Miss, and then Kansas City. That's a free $700 right there, imagine. That's obviously not a good bet, but, I mean, realistically, it should win. And then going to the current betting trends, you can see Green Bay now sitting -1.5, so I would assume there has been some money that's coming on New Orleans during the week to push that line down from -2 to -1.5. The over-under sitting at 42.5. I like the under in that still. I do like the under in that. You've got the Vikings, Chargers. Minnesota's gone from a pick-em to their 1-point favorites, so some decent money coming in on them. And then, yeah, 54. I'd still take the over 54 in that matchup, even though it's pretty tough. 54 is a big number for the NFL at this point. You've got the Titans at the Browns. Some decent cash coming in on Tennessee. I would imagine you've got the Nick Chubb injury. You've got Tennessee. They're already 2-0 against the spread. They play close games. You can certainly understand the public valuing the Titans plus the 3.5 there. How about the over-under sitting at 39.5? It was interesting because the Browns Monday night game, everyone was going in on the under. I said I like the over, and the over somehow hit, even though the Steelers couldn't generate anything on offense. But 39.5, you can understand people going in on the under with the Browns injury and the Titans just playing really low-scoring games. The Falcons and the Lions, you've got Detroit -3. I love Detroit, unless there's an injury I'm not aware of, and maybe there is, because this is some weird line movement to me. I do not think Atlanta's going to beat Detroit, and 3 seems like a smaller number. Over-under sitting at 46. I'd go the over on that. It always seems like games at Ford Field go over. Next, you have the Bills and the Commanders, so this is the one that might be impacted by weather. You can see the over-under sitting all the way down at 43. I love the over if the weather's good enough. I love the over there. There is a massive storm coming, though, and it may or may not hit Landover, Maryland. We will see. You've got Denver at Miami, so Miami sitting -6.5. You've got some public money coming in on Denver. I certainly like Denver. Over-under sitting at 48. I probably like the under in that game. 48's a decently, I don't know. It depends. I could go either way on that one, so I'll just steer clear on predicting it. You've got Indianapolis at Baltimore, so look at that. The public is, or excuse me, the Sharps are in on Indianapolis. The public is in on Baltimore. That's the bet of the week. It's Indianapolis +8. And I said it right on Tuesday when I made my predictions. Indianapolis +8. There's going to be weather in this game. It's going to be downpouring the entire game. Take the under 44. Indianapolis +8. Both of those seem solid. And then you do have New England at the Jets, another game that's going to be heavily impacted by the weather. The over-under in this game has plummeted to 36.5. And you do have a lot of people going in on New England to cover the 2.5 because they are 0-2 at this point. They're looking for their first win. The next game, you have Houston at Jacksonville. A lot of money coming in on Houston, plus the 8.5. I like Jacksonville to get right in this game and win it by 13 points, but you can understand, CJ Stroud did look good last week, but a lot of it was garbage time. Over-under at 44.5. I would not bet that. Carolina at Seattle. You've got Seattle sitting -6.5. A lot of money coming in on Seattle. This line's been pushed up due to the injury to, really, maybe Andy Dalton might be better than Bryce Young at this point. I think a lot of the Bryce Young situation is they're just benching him, and really they should. If he's overwhelmed, just give him a few weeks on the bench. It's not a big deal. It's a long career for Bryce Young. He's going to be fine. I am concerned about his weight, really. His height is one thing, but people compare him to Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson is built like a brick. You've got to bulk up a little bit if you're Bryce Young. It seems like a stiff breeze is knocking him down. So Andy Dalton starting in this game. I think Andy Dalton, the veteran, I don't really know what to make of that, honestly. You can see the over-under. Everyone's going in on the under 42. Chicago at Kansas City. You've got KC sitting -12.5. I do like, that's a pretty high over-under at 48. Yeah, a lot of people going in on the under in that game, but I do like the Bears to score a decent amount after kind of being the talk of, and everyone's like, oh, the Bears, they're so discombobulated. People always overreact. They just need something to talk about. Justin Fields said one thing, and then it's just such a gossip with the NFL. Like the dude barely said anything. What did he say? And everyone's like, oh my God, the Bears. It's just so stupid. I think the Bears will play decent in this game. They're not going to win, but they'll at least do something. You've got Dallas at Arizona. That's another game, 12.5 point spread, and I like Dallas to cover that game. Yeah, 43 is the over-under. A lot of people going in on the under. The Sunday night game, I love the over. I will certainly bet against the public. Look at that, 98% in on the under. I'll take the over 43, and I do like Vegas to win that game outright. I don't know if they'll cover the 2.5. It's going to be a very close game. You've got Philadelphia. These are both the Monday night games. Philadelphia at Tampa Bay. There might be a weather delay in this one due to lightning because it is Tampa, Florida in September. You can see that game has gotten bet way down. Maybe it hasn't. I don't know. It might have opened at 5.5. I thought it opened at 6.5, but it's down to 4.5. A lot of people betting on Baker Mayfield to keep that game close. And then you do have Cincinnati sitting -3. I would certainly imagine if Joe Burrow does not start, you could get great value right now in the Rams plus the 3. And then the over-under sitting at 44, I would take the under for sure with the Joe Burrow uncertainty. But then again, if he plays randomly and it's a Monday night game and he shows out and you're kind of screwed. But I don't know, guys. Either way, that's going to do it for this video. Make sure you're following me on X. Link to that's always in the description.